This is loaded with protein, tastes just like an actual bagel. We even have extra protein cream cheese. 2 of these in a sitting would be okay. Welcome back to the Anabolic Hub, where we make anabolic deliciousness. We're back inside my kitchen today doing another original recipe. Today we're going to be making a breakfast classic. Who doesn't like themselves a good breakfast bagel? Unfortunately, they're usually just a big carb bomb with very little protein, if any at all. Good news is this version is loaded with protein, low in calories, and is definitely going to be ideal for any shredding plan, any weight loss plan, and definitely any main gaining plan. And this recipe, just like all of my recipes, is available in a Craving Crusher cookbook. Link is in the description box below. It has 65 plus recipes, all the recipes you see here on the channel, plus a few extras, a little sneak peek on what's to come if you're curious, and it will be updated with all future recipes that end up on this channel. With no further ado, let's get things started by having a look at the ingredients. Here we go. All-purpose flour, baking powder, instant fast-acting yeast. The one ingredient to rule them all, salt. Swerve. Granular, plain non-fat Greek yogurt, 1 egg, Greek cream cheese. And this is another one of those magical recipes where we're mixing together some dry ingredients, we're mixing together a wet ingredient, and we're combining all of that for some anabolic deliciousness. So let's get things started here by mixing together our dry ingredients first. First dry ingredient is going to be 120 grams of our all-purpose flour. Then 8 grams of our baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder. Then we need 1 gram of our instant fast-acting yeast. And then you have somewhat of an optional ingredient. This is just how I like to have my bagels, with a little bit of cinnamon made inside. You don't have to do this if you don't want cinnamon. If you just want a plain bagel, then omit the cinnamon. But I like my bagels a little cinnamony. So here we're gonna add in 4 grams of our ground cinnamon. Next is 4 grams of the one ingredient to rule them all, salt. And finally, for the dry ingredients, 7 grams of our swerve granular. Then what we want to do is give that a good mix or sift. And once you have everything well combined, you are good. And let me tell you, don't sleep on the sifting. It's going to make sure all of those dry ingredients, especially the baking powder and the yeast, get mixed in throughout all of the other dry ingredients. So don't just mix with a spoon. Don't think you can do the same with a whisk. Although it's close, nothing will ever beat sifting. Okay, dry ingredients done. Now we move on to our wet ingredient. So we just wanted to break in real quick here to remind you to smash the like button. Consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. And why don't you tell me in the comment section, what's your favorite type of bagel? Is it a plain bagel, a cinnamon raisin bagel, an everything bagel? Drop in the comments below. Tell me your favorite one. We'll have a boisterous discussion about bagels. All right, back to the video. And for our wet ingredient, we have 230 grams of the plain non-fat Greek yogurt, negative scale measuring system. Just keep dumping some onto the scale and it's not going in the bowl, but we're gonna get most of it in there and we'll definitely get to 230 grams. There we go, and with that little bit there left on the spoon, we have 230 grams of our plain non-fat Greek yogurt. Exactly. Then we wanna mix. Give the spoon a little scrape down, and we mix some more. And there you go. Once you've mixed until you think you've mixed enough, and then you've mixed some more, you have all of your wet ingredient and your dry ingredients combined into one pasty, dough-like substance. Now it's time to start forming out our bagels. Here we have a baking sheet lined with some parchment paper. We're gonna form out 2 bagels, which is exactly how much this dough will yield. You can eyeball it half and half in the amount. I usually have them in the same week, so I'm not concerned about them being the exact same size. Plus, if you have regular eyesight, you should get them close enough where it doesn't require any measuring anyway. This is also the point where you could mix in some raisins if you wanted to have some extra calories in there, or make any type of bagel that you wanted to. If you wanted to sprinkle on some everything bagel seasoning, you could do that as well. You could omit the cinnamon if you wanted to as well. Lots of options here with this bagel recipe. We're gonna make our slightly cinnamon bagels here today though, and we're gonna start by forming the bagels right now on our baking sheet. You'll also want to dip the hands into some water because this dough is pretty sticky. Dough ball number 1. Dough ball number 2. And then I usually scrape down the excess from the bowl and add it equally over our 2 dough balls. Now that we have our 2 equally sized dough balls, it's time to form out our bagels. You could just kind of flatten them out a little bit and make kind of like a bagel roll, but we have to have good aesthetics for the thumbnail, so we're going to form these into the best looking bagels that we can. However, if you're pressed for time, they taste the same whether they have the hole in the middle, whether they bake the hole shut, doesn't really matter. These are still delicious bagels. They still have fantastic macros. So let's get to the forming. You just kind of want to finger a hole right in the center of each bagel. And you do want a bigger hole than you think because during the baking process, it will close up. And before we can start baking these bagels, we have to put on our egg wash. We're gonna use our 1 egg that we have scrambled, our little brush here, and we're gonna brush the top and the sides of the bagel so that we have a nice bagel-y finish once they're done baking. So let's get this egg wash on there so we can get to baking. Alright, egg wash complete. It's time to start baking in our oven that we have preheated at 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 195 degrees Celsius. We're gonna bake these 15 to 20 minutes. Checking along the way. As soon as a toothpick comes out clean, yes, even for a bagel you can do that, we'll know that they're done. But with no further ado, let's get to baking. Lost the towel on that one, but we're good. I just took the bagels out of the oven after 18 minutes and boy do they smell delicious, and they are massive. Can't wait for you guys to see the macros on these bagels. However, before we see the macros, let's see the bagels. That is if you want to see the bagels. I think you want to see the bagels. Why don't we have you see the bagels? There's the bagels right there coming into focus. They are huge. They will be delicious. We are going to try them after they cool and completely set after 10 minutes. This is going to be one that you are going to wish you knew about before. We'll let them cool. We'll put on our, I guess you could call it a topping. I'd call it a topping. And then it's over to the taste test table. Look how massive this bagel is. Wait till you see the macros just on this one. We have another one meal prepped and ready to go for tomorrow or sometime during the week. And I mentioned a topping. We're gonna be using this here. Now you could just use a low-fat cream cheese and that's better. It'll take some of the fat out. However, I like this Greek cream cheese version here because it actually adds more protein. It's not a ton, but you do get 3 grams of protein per serving as opposed to the 1 that's in regular cream cheese. And even in the low-fat or no-fat cream cheese, the protein count doesn't quite go up that much. If anything, it's probably equal at a best-case scenario. However, I digress. We're going to be adding this on top and then heading over to the taste test table. 22 grams of our Greek cream cheese. Negative scale measuring system. And there we have it, just enough of our Greek cream cheese to cover this massive bagel. Let's get it over to the taste test table. And we're back at the taste test table yet again to try another original recipe, our massive, mega protein bagel. This one is gonna keep you full, and there's no exaggeration there. This is loaded with protein, tastes just like an actual bagel. We even have extra protein cream cheese on the bagel. Incredible. Wait till you see the macros on this one. However, why don't I give you a close-up look and you can see how big this thing is. Look at the size of that bagel. Oh my goodness. Covered in cream cheese, loaded with protein, ready to keep you full. Start off the day great. Breakfast is going to be a no-brainer. You got it for 2 days with this recipe. And this is something that's going to start your day off in the best way possible. A nice high-protein, guilt-free breakfast. But with no further ado, let's stop talking about it and let's try it. First bite, best bite, every time, don't care what you say, can't convince me otherwise, here we go. Oh, just like a bagel from the deli. So good, so good. It's not quite as high as your typical bagel, but it is big enough where you are getting every bit of volume you would from any anabolic recipe. Like I said, I like mine with the touch of cinnamon in there. Gives it a nice little flavor for me. You can omit that cinnamon. I got cream cheese all over my mouth. I was trying to say I had cream cheese all over my mouth. Anyway, you can add in whatever you want. Make it an everything bagel. Make it a sesame bagel. However you want to change this up. Very easy to do. Very versatile recipe depending on how you like your bagels. This is how I like mine. Little sweet, got some cream cheese on there. Protein cream cheese, of course. Total winner of a recipe here. Let's get right to the macros so you can see what's in this. You can see it's loaded with protein. It's low calorie. You can even make an argument that 2 of these in a sitting would be okay. It'd be a bigger meal, but you could do it. And even if you just have one, it's a great snack. No matter how you slice it, no pun intended with the bagel, you don't need to slice this one. It's massive enough just to eat on its own. Easy to handle, as you can see. And you can enjoy any bit of it. This is gonna crush any bagel craving you might be having. And by the way, speaking of crushing cravings, my Craving Crusher cookbook has this recipe in it, along with 65 plus other recipes. I highly recommend that you check this one out. It'd be great to have all the recipes on my channel in your pocket. Pull out your phone, pull out your iPad, heck, throw it up on the computer, call up the cookbook, make anabolic deliciousness whenever you want, all in one place. No more having to take notes, no more having to watch the videos unless you want to. Who wouldn't want to watch me, right? But I digress. Cookbook, first link in the description. Let me know what you think. Back to the recipe though. Oh my goodness, if you try this, you gotta let me know. Come back, comment, I wanna know, how did it come out for you? But it's getting to be about that time. I gotta get up out of here and somehow try to finish this massive bagel before I get to where I'm going to next. But I'll see you in the next one. Bye.